Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Jim Willis Outdoors here. Just messing around with a few tip-ups here, getting some rigs ready to go pike fishing this weekend. In Wisconsin, after deer season winds down, it's all about ice fishing. Not much to do in Wisconsin, it's cold, so we go ice fishing. We get out there on the ice, but in early February every year out on Lake Winnebago, we kick it up a notch, big time. We trade in our augers for chainsaws, and we trade in our jig poles for a spear, and we go hunting dinosaurs. Lake Sturgeon. It's a big thing around Lake Winnebago and the whole Lake Winnebago chain actually, and there's a whole culture that's built around it. Why don't you check out my little adventures? Last year I traveled down to Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, which is at the southern tip of Lake Winnebago, in hopes of spearing one of those prehistoric beasts. Check it out. Well, I'm currently driving out on the middle of Lake Winnebago. We're about half-mile offshore, following the north-south road out of Fond du Lac here, out of Wentz. And we're heading to do our cut-in for the year. Sturgeon spearing starts tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, bright and early. So hopefully some of our group can tag up on some of these monster dinosaurs. Stay tuned, we're gonna give you the play-by-play, show you what's going on, show you a little bit about the cut-in here. As soon as we get up here, we'll be actually taking chainsaws with like 40-inch blades and cutting big squares out of the ice to spear a sturgeon through. So we'll show you how that's done. Now, the first time driving on the ice is always a nerve-wracking experience. But to be honest, it's crossing the bridges that cross the cracks in the ice that'll really make the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Now, when we get to the area we're going to be spearing, the action really starts and the chainsaws get broke out. Alright, what we're getting to do here is our guides here are cutting us into our shanties. They're going to cut the sturgeon hole with these chainsaws with 40-inch bars. It's just crazy. There's plunger saws down in the ice and cut. It's what you need to be able to cut a hole that big, is a chainsaw with that kind of length to it, because we got 20 inches of ice. It's a lot of ice to cut through. So check this out. Our guides plunge their saws deep down into the ice, cutting long rectangle holes which our ice shanty will fit over the top of. These are going to be the holes that we're going to be staring countless hours down out of. Now, one thing is for certain, if you're running the chainsaw, you're going to get wet. Now, after the holes are completely cut out, the guides take these long spiked poles and they're going to push the ice block right underneath the ice. It'll be far out of the way. There's no need to haul the ice block out of the water. They'll just step on it, break it free, and slide it right under the ice. The holes are specially cut at an angle to make it easy to push those big blocks of ice down and slide them right out of the way. It also increases your field of view as you're looking down the hole. Alright, well, it's Friday. We just got done with the cut-in. Now we just wait. It's going to be tomorrow morning, sunrise, 7 a.m. That's when we're allowed to get into the shacks and get the spearing. So hopefully by about 7:01, we should be hauling up a sturgeon. Probably won't get that lucky, but weather's looking great. It's looking warm, actually really warm. It's supposed to be up close to 40 tomorrow, which is unheard of for February in Wisconsin. Being out in the middle of a frozen lake and that kind of weather, that's going to be something different. But all right, we're going to go back to the hotel, get rested up, enjoy some of the sturgeon spectacular events going down here in Fond du Lac, and up bright and squirrely tomorrow. Time to spear a sturgeon. Now, I did have a little bit of time after cut-in to enjoy some of the surrounding events going on for the Sturgeon Spectacular down here in Fond du Lac, which included a snow sculpture event. All the snow sculptures were in the theme of sturgeon. It seemed like a fairly quick overnight, and the sun was rising, and we were ready to head out on the Lake Winnebago to try our hand at sturgeon spearing. Daybreak found me and thousands of other anglers miles offshore on Lake Winnebago in hopes of the mighty sturgeon. Headlights and shack lights appeared on the horizon for miles surrounding us. You could definitely tell we weren't alone on the ice today. Well, daybreak is here, opening day, Wisconsin sturgeon season. We got about 5 minutes before we can get in the shack, and well, it's almost time. Let's get some. Water clarity and visibility can play a big role in your success. Due to the warm-up, water visibility wasn't very good the first morning, but our guides made sure we were well taken care of no matter how bad the fishing got.
Oh, you know we gotta get a picture, right?
I got one more. I just don't have enough hands.
Awesome.
There you go.
Thank you.
Let me know how they are. I'm not a vested bartending or whatever. So.
Bloody Mary delivery service. Opening morning for us was pretty uneventful. You know, a few schools of minnows was about really the only excitement we had up until the closing that afternoon. So after an evening of checking out the sights and sounds of this big Sturgeon Spectacular Festival down in Fond du Lac. By the way, if you're ever in the area during sturgeon spearing, hit that place up. The whole city goes sturgeon crazy. Snow sculptures. They put a big beer tent out on the ice and have concerts and bands. It's a big festival. It's really, really fun. So check it out. But anyway, after that, a couple hours of hitting that up, we had to get back to the hotel, get a couple hours of sleep because it was going to be another early morning in the morning for day 2. Well, we're here for day 2. Pretty uneventful yesterday. We had a couple people in the group that actually seen a couple fish. Had one actually come up pretty much in the hole, but no dice. But that's what happens. To get a sturgeon, it takes a lot. It takes a lot of luck, really. So we're going to be out here for a few more hours today, just trying to, well, see what we can do, see if we can get one. I know people that have gone 20 years without even getting a fish. I know people that have gotten fish on their first year. So it's really, really almost hit and miss on whether you're going to be able to get one or not. But you can't get one if you're not out here. So we're out here, we're giving it a try. It's temperatures look like it's going to be about mid-30s. We got rain. It's not the best conditions to be out on the ice. It's kind of weird being out on the ice with something like this because you ain't really got to dress too hard. But we got the trucks out here. We got 20 inches of ice. We're about a mile off of offshore, give or take. So it's almost time. We got about 10 minutes left, maybe a little bit less before we can enter the shack and start spearing. So I don't know. Hopefully we can get one. Okay, well, that magic time is here. It's 7 o'clock. And according to our guides, at 7 o'clock, we can enter the shack. So let's go get some sturgeon. Water clarity really didn't show any improvement on day 2. In fact, with the warmer weather, ice conditions and water clarity were actually changing rather quickly. Even with that, we stayed by as long as possible, staring down that hole with that spear, just waiting and hoping. With my decoy barely visible 6 feet down, I did decide to call it a wrap and get out while the travel was still good. Well, I'm calling her a wrap for day 2 for me. I'm a little bit early on the 1 o'clock end time, but the sun is out, it's windy as heck, and that's making for some pretty treacherous travel conditions out here on the lake. So before it gets any worse, I'm gonna head back in and see if people have been doing any good. I'm gonna hit the registration stations, hit a couple of them, namely Wentz up here a little ways when I get offshore, see if we got any fish up there, and then make our way up the west shore to see if what the other registration stations are doing. And well, unless I get lucky enough to score another day somewhere, this will be about the end of my 2017 sturgeon spearing season. It was a great time. Not going to complain one bit just because I didn't get a fish, but like I said before, I know people that have gone 20 years without getting a fish. So really, me going 1 year not getting one, not too much of a heartbreaker. But I'll be back again. I'll try it again next year. This was actually one of the last weeks for vehicle traffic on Winnebago last year. with the continued warm weather and the rain, ice conditions just changed and dwindled rapidly. This actually pushed the sturgeon spearing season to its full length, which sometimes happens, sometimes doesn't. See, the spearing season commonly closes when it's hit its harvest quota of females, males, or juveniles. They take samples and go through the registrations on each one and determine the sex and the age of the fish and close the season accordingly if any of their harvest quotas have been met. And with the dwindling ice conditions and the rain and all the lack of visibility from the snow and ice melt runoff, it drastically reduced the success rates of the fishermen, which kind of it helped them make the season take its entire length. The quotas were never met. So I'll be heading back there in just a couple of weeks here, looking for redemption from this past year. I'll be heading back down to Fond du Lac, back out to the same area, and hopefully I can get another shot at throwing a spear at one of these giant prehistoric fish. It was a great time last year. I'm looking forward to a good time this year. So make sure if you're in the area, you live in Fond du Lac, you live in anywhere near Fond du Lac, take a drive down and check out the Sturgeon Spectacular. Even if you're not fishing, even if you're not spearing, it's a good time all the way around. So I can't wait to get down there again this year. So if you're there, look for me, say hi, and thanks for watching.